Hey everyone, welcome back to the TraderLion channel. This is Richard Moglen, and with me is Ross Haber. And today we're going to be presenting our chart of the week, which is AMD, which actually triggered an early entry through an alternate pivot here. And we'll discuss that as well as the current price action, what we're looking for next week. And this is a setup from the top 10 report that Ross Haber puts out twice a week. And if you're interested in that, in the top 10 report, the link will be down below in the description to get actual ideas twice a week. So with that, Ross, talk a little bit about what you're watching for last week, why you had it on the top 10 through this early entry pivot, and also the current price action.
Okay, well, here we've got AMD again, from last week to this week. You can see here's our prior entry, and I'm going to flip back to last week's report from Tuesday, or when this is for, comes out Tuesday night for Wednesday the 13th. This was what we refer to as a consolidation pivot or early entry. We love this because, you know, we can see the moving averages starting to bunch up and come up underneath where we're hoping price will be to eventually set up a launching pad, if you will, as we normally discuss. So we're a little bit early here. We're anticipating, and as you can see, last week we worked out well. We picked up volume, and even though we weren't, as you can see, above average, we were bigger above last week, and actually quite a bit of the volume prior, which is all that's required for one of these early entries. So now as we're coming to this week, you can see we still got relative strength on, you know, positive divergence relative to here. So we're still good. Let's say we've got a down open Monday morning or tomorrow. We can keep an eye on this area here, assuming we get constructive weakness. And again, on strength through this pivot. This is our textbook base breakout, or base pivot, where we're going to want to see at least 20% increase in volume if we're going to buy on strength through here. So that
perfect.
Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, perfect. Let's move on to MarketSmith and talk a little bit more about the company, the fundamentals, and also what we're looking for at this moment. So to start things off, obviously AMD is a little bit short-term extended, already had a little bit of a move, and that's why we like those early entries. You can manage risk a little bit tighter against the moving averages. But just looking at the fundamentals in general, earnings, sales margins incredibly strong going back the past 4 quarters. Looking down at the bottom of the screen, and also looking at the annual EPS estimates for this year and the next, a nice fall through expected. 91% in 2021. Estimate revisions are up. That's a good sign. And you've got 23% EPS growth expected for the next year. Also, as we always like to see, we've got an increasing trend in the number of funds, and also 2 of the IBD mutual fund index top funds having positions. So that always kind of adds to my conviction. You've got that high quality fund sponsorship. And looking at the price action, Ross, what are you kind of looking at, and how do you interpret this chart?
Well, for starters, you know, the big push, you know, we like to see a prior uptrend. And as you can see, I always, you know, every time I see this teardrop here indicating the biggest volume, I immediately think of Ray, which is, you know, as he explains that this isn't, you know, your grandma or Aunt Tilly buying stocks here, or as you say, I think it was, these are big institutions, not only one, but probably many, stepping up to buy on this day. And what everyone's got to keep in mind is, you know,
and that entire week, pretty much. I mean, you've got walls of blue, not just that last day.
The volume.
So it's always good to see a lot of volume in that uptrend. And that was after a really standout earnings report. So that was really good to see.
Absolutely. And you can see it's not, I mean, you've got reasonably sized positions, JP Morgan, large cap, Fidelity, Contra Fund. These are multi-billion-dollar funds. And if these guys are buying it, there's tons of other ones. So it'll take weeks and months for these guys to finish building a position. So what I see here is this giant push in volume. And, you know, this is characteristic of the AMD. What it's doing, it keeps relatively tight ranges, but it just you know, after this giant push, it needed some sideways action to kind of just work off the excess. So, and if you notice, we've got that light, super light below average volume. We got the nice dip here, and you can see volume starting to come back up as we make the right side. We've got the early push there, you know, on that this big volume bar right here. And so again, I would look at it, you know, whether we have, let's say we get a little gap up and push through and we have volume screaming off the open, or near when it gets going near this textbook, your textbook
double bottom
pivot at 114.49, again, even if we had a bit of a weak open tomorrow, I'd be equally happy to try and pick this up around 108.4, close to its 50-day moving average is. So this is a very obvious pivot here, the 108.44. It's just a smidge above its 50 days. So you can be wrong there a few times and get back in. So like you had mentioned, we love to at least start a position there. You can step up the size a little bit. It's a super liquid stock, and as long as you're aware of where you are, you're managing risk along the way. It's a super liquid stock, and pretty easy to get in and out of as long as you're selective with your entries.
Absolutely. And just a few things to add before we wrap things up. It held pretty close to 100, didn't quite hold that clean 100 level, but just barely undercut it at 99.51. And also, Ross, if you go to a weekly chart, I think it's good to put things in perspective, because AMD has had a really long base, about 10, 12 months here. And now it's forming kind of a base on base pattern, which is super constructive, right near all-time highs. And look at that close on the weekly. That's really good to see.
Yeah, it's as I've said, this will be the third or fourth time I'm saying we've got textbook breakout, and it's a textbook chart. It's really pretty. You've got volume in all the right places, tight constructive action everywhere you want to see it. So assuming the market continues how it has been, AMD should, I would, again, and you'll notice AMD has these strong pushes, and then it'll wiggle around, strong push. And so if we do get a strong push here, it's one that, and we'll follow it up as we go on here. If we do get it, I would consider selling, let's say, a third if we saw a solid extension up off its short-term moving averages, and look to but assuming its personality will remain in place, we'll wait for that next consolidation to add it back. With hopefully it's lower. If it's higher, then that's fine too, because that means the stock's stronger, and that's a change of character I want to see. I'm never too unhappy to see a stock leaving the station with a little less than I planned on, because I was right that it's going higher, but wrong not having enough. So
Gotcha. And just to end things, this is a leading stock in a leading group. The group is ranked 8 out of 197. That's always good to see. We know that 50% of the performance of a stock can be attributed to the sector and industry group. And you also have nice return on equity, 36%. This is just a really well-run company with obviously a standout CEO, Lisa Su, which always asks for conviction. A lot of people really love her, and she's incredibly innovative. So with that, I think we'll end the video. Once again, watch for constructive weakness, pull back to that prior pivot, or a push through that double bottom base pivot, and always manage risk versus those moving averages and use a stop loss. And with that, if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and leave a like down below, and subscribe if you're new to the TraderLion channel. And we'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.